So you've set your voiceover goals for 2022, right? Right. So just in case you haven't done that, this video is all about that. And essentially what I want to do is bring together two of my previous videos, one of which was about goal setting and the other one which was about taking stock of your voiceover achievements for 2021, and then use myself as an example of how I'm going about setting my goals for this coming year. Now, the trickiest aspect of this can be you don't really know where to start. Everybody has their own kind of competing goals. There are loads of posts on it at the moment on social media. Various voiceover provider services are all about these things, and you can't really see the wood from the trees. So I recommend that you have to start with what your goal is. You also need to think about how you would go about achieving that goal. But the thing that I think that I really kind of missed out from last year in properly interrogating was the why as well. I think this is of crucial importance to really determine whether or not a goal actually works for you personally, or whether or not you've just taken it from someone else's goal list and assumed it into your own business, rather than really properly interrogating it. So it's about the what, it's about the how, but it's also crucially about the why. And this is what's going to be able to make you to narrow down your options into something that is actually feeling possible to you in this coming year, as opposed to something that is overwhelming. So, to get onto the resolution aspect of this, the first thing that I really recommend is that you brainstorm everything. But you brainstorm everything with three major sectors in mind. So the first one is going to be the technical side. The technical side may be equipment, it may be investment in your space, but it's to do with your recording environment, the process of recording from a technical side, so equipment, all of that kind of thing. The second area to really kind of focus on is on the performance side. So that could be working with particular coaches in particular genres, but then that also goes towards the actual demo production that you might be involved if you actually want to showcase your work in that respect. So that there's the technical side and there's the performance side, and then there's also the marketing/employment side. So this is to do with what are your inbound marketing streams, what are your outbound marketing streams, inherently that's social media as well as any direct marketing that you do. And then on top of that, it's also what agency are you represented by, how often are you auditioning, are you auditioning through production rosters, are you using pay-to-plays, and if so, how regularly you are auditioning, all of that kind of thing. So we've got those three rough areas from which to start with. The next stage is to make sure that you have taken stock of this year, 2021, to see what targets that you've set, whether or not you managed to action them, and then also to interrogate why. So when I look back, I'm not going to try and repeat everything that's already in that pre-existing video. But when I look back, obviously there are lots of things that I'm very proud to have been able to achieve. So for example, my income target I didn't hit, but I came very close to hitting. In terms of working more in games and audiobooks as well, that was very successful. I managed to get this home studio built, which has made me have to worry a lot less about the technical side of things. And I've also managed to formalize my coaching offering. I've managed to work with a marketing company specifically on defining what my marketing strategies are. And I've also managed to create another Skillshare course, which is very, very good and very well regarded and completely free if you sign up for a trial, just saying. But there were also some things that I completely dropped, completely failed on. And again, this comes back to not having really interrogated the why enough. So for example, I had this whole idea that I would create a kind of marketing pack for myself in order that I could, I don't know, get more kind of interviews or appear on podcasts or anything else like that. Because there wasn't a really clear why behind that, other than I'd heard a few other people do it, that never really kind of came together in any way, shape or form. Or more specifically, also with working on US general American accents. It's something that I'd set up as wanting to revisit because I'd done a lot of it as a trained actor before previously, and a lot of people say it's a very, very good idea. But it never became a priority for me because I just didn't encounter that many castings where it was really an issue. And increasingly as well, with people looking for really authentic accents, I kind of used it as a bit of an excuse because my why wasn't strong enough in the first place to not even begin touching that. So I'm not saying that's not something that I'm going to potentially focus on in the new year, but I need to come up with a strong enough why in order to be able to justify that being on my goals list. Okay, so oriented around those 3 different areas, you brainstorm everything that you think of, anything that pops into your mind that you could possibly think of as a goal. Don't try and qualify it in any way, shape or form. Just put it down there and attach it to one of those 3 spheres. And then from that, you need to focus on the why. And this will be a natural process of elimination before you then get into the nitty-gritty of the how. There's no point in wasting lots of time on the how if the why isn't strong enough. It's like any kind of acting objective exercise. If your want isn't strong enough, then the scene won't be successful because you won't really feel you'll need it, so there won't be that tension of drama. It's exactly the same in terms of your motivation. If these are going to be goals that you're going to be pursuing for an entire 12 months, if the why isn't strong enough, you won't do it. So if I look at some of the goals that I'm contemplating in 2022, one example is documentary work. So that's what it is. I want to work more in documentaries and long-form narration in that type of thing. The why is because I've always had a real interest in that, from David Attenborough and his nature narrations having a huge particular effect on me, and then more kind of historical narration as well I've been really, really interested in. And so therefore, once I've got those 2 as established, that's a very positive thing, then I can go into the how could I possibly do that? And that would be by working with a coach that I think is well respected, so maybe doing some research on that, working with them with the aim of then getting a demo, and then when you have that demo, well, what can you do? Yes, you can put it on pay-to-play sites, yes, you can give it to your agents, but it would then be working in terms of my marketing as well, so that I could identify specific leads that I could reach out to directly and then incorporate into my overall kind of direct marketing strategy as a result. Another what that I'm really contemplating is that I want to consolidate my income. Before I get into the how I want to do that, I really need to think about the why. And obviously it's because more money is always great, right? Maybe. But the why is actually because I want to be able to take some time off from voiceover without massive feelings of guilt. So that's quite a strong activator for me in terms of a life goal as opposed to a business goal, to take more time off without going, oh my God, my business is going to plummet as a result. And then that justifies very much more strongly the how I want to go about that. So that's making sure that I am actioning all of the marketing work that I explored with Knowlton Marketing when I hired them as a consultant for my business in terms of inbound work and outbound work. It's about making sure that the workflow of my content creation is as streamlined as possible so that I can be consistent, so that I can do batch contenting. It's led to some outsourcing. It's why I've got a virtual assistant for my outreach to help with that. Now, throughout this process, I'm not saying that the why has to always be ridiculously strong. It's good to have some speculative ones in there that you can subsequently kind of quantify. So for example, with me, one of my goals that I'm contemplating is looking into the whole dubbing and ADR world, because it's something that I haven't experienced. I don't know whether I'd love it or hate it because I've never even done a workshop on it or tried it out myself. So I know that I want to go about doing that. What's the why? Because it seems to be such a booming industry at this moment. So do I know whether or not I'd like it? Do I know whether or not it's a genre that would work for me? I'm not going to know that until I explore it in some kind of way. And so therefore we go down to the how, and that's by seeing what workshops are available, seeing if there's any resources that I'm already paying for, from my memberships to the Voiceover Network or to Gravy for the Brain, or other organizations are available, and whether or not they have some resources that I can use, whether or not the friends or people that I know who already work in those spheres that I can potentially talk to see what the whole process is like. Once you've gone through this entire process, you should have a bunch of ideas that you've brainstormed out, and then they will have automatically kind of funneled down quite considerably as soon as you've analysed the why. And I recommend even using kind of different colours, so you know that, maybe all of the ones that you've brainstormed are in blue, but when they actually qualify to the next stage, then maybe you put the why in red. And then if they're ones that you actually want to spend considerable time on thinking about the how, then you put them in another colour, like purple, for example, and that means that they are definitely going to be priorities for you. And obviously, if they chime with you and you're more excited about them, then that's obviously a very good sign. But again, one of the useful benefits of having those 3 areas kind of like mapped out is to make sure that there's some form of balance, so that you're not focusing purely always on the performance side and not at all on the marketing side, because yes, it's great that you focus on your skills, especially when you're starting out, but if you want to actually make it function as a business, you need to spend at least as much time on the marketing side, on getting auditions, on getting those relationships, and on the technical side. For me, I know that the technical side, thanks to having invested in this studio and making it such a priority in 2021, is less of an issue for me. So it's going to be focusing more on the performance side and much more on the kind of marketing side, marketing to new areas as well. But again, it's about kind of forming a real process, not by trying to get it right from the get-go, but by literally copying everybody else's ideas first and foremost, having them all out in front of you, and then seeing what speaks to you. I hope this video has been of some use to you, and I wanted to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, regardless of what the COVID restrictions may or may not be by the time that we get there. Thank you so much for your support for the channel as ever. Please do like, subscribe, please do tell other people that you think might enjoy this content about this content, as it would mean a great deal. And thank you as ever for your time and support and lovely comments. I will be taking a break for a week just to kind of revise where I want to take this channel next, and I hope that I'll be able to bring you all along with me. Thanks so much, and I look forward to seeing you next year.